want to go over some of the top 10 questions that I get asked so I can answer them for you in one place. The first question is how to start carnivore? And the simple answer is just choose. More complex answer is the first thing I strongly suggest is getting rid of all of the processed foods and sugars out of your house. If you're going to do it for at least 30 days, put them in a basket. Take all of that stuff, ask a friend to hold on to it. I promise if you make it through the 30 days, you're not going to want it back. The second thing is to realize this is a journey. It is not a race. It is not get there as fast as we can. Every time I've tried to do a diet, and it's like pushing a round peg through a square hole. The more I push, the more stuck I get. Those are the first few things I strongly suggest is getting the stuff out of your face. And the next thing is go buy meat. It is that simple. Go buy meat. Prepare ahead of time. Do not wait till you're hungry to eat. What to expect the first few weeks of switching to carnivore or ketovore. If you've been eating a carb-laden diet, you're going to go through carb withdrawals. That is muscle cramps, fatigue, brain fog. I had headaches, exhaustion, these kinds of things happen. It is normal. Your body is switching from burning carbohydrates, which you have to constantly keep refueling with, to switching to burning fat. Something I strongly suggest doing, and I wish I had actually done it my first few weeks of it, is using electrolytes. I like to use LMNT, that's LMNT, because as I said, it helps with the headaches, cramps, fatigue, muscle aches, and those sorts of things that happen with low electrolytes, specifically through carb withdrawals. It has sodium, magnesium, and potassium in it that absolutely help with this. And the best part for me is it doesn't have any crap in it. It doesn't have any sugars, any artificial things in it. Right now, LMNT's offering an 8-pack sample pack free with any purchased. You just need to go to drinklmnt.com/carnivorousme. That's drinklmnt.com/carnivorousme. So taking the electrolytes will help immensely with all of that. The diarrhea or constipation, it varies depending on who you are. Mine lasted about 5 weeks. I've had people tell me it's lasted 2. I've had people say they haven't had any diarrhea or constipation. A big thing about this is your body's GI tract is having to adjust and change. You've been feeding it carbs and sugars, and then when you stop, the digestive tract, the bacteria in there, they die off and have to repopulate with protein and fat-loving bacteria, and that is why your body rinses all of that bad bacteria out, i.e. the diarrhea. And I also want to talk about cravings. In the beginning, they'll be pretty strong. Your body is going to just absolutely cry out for sugar. Hold fast. If you're hungry, eat meat. If you're going to do dairy, eat some cheese. Do not give into it. It will get better. It does get so much better. If you want more specifics, I have a video that you can watch on this to get more details. The next question I get asked is, what about fruits and vegetables, Amanda? Carnivore is a meat-based diet. There's a few reasons people do this. Mine specifically is because I have autoimmune issues. Vegetables have oxalates, which are inflammatory. The whole point of carnivore for me is to remove as much inflammation out of the body. Carbs and sugar are very inflammatory as well. Fruit has fructose in it. Fructose, it's sugar. I was a type 2 diabetic, and the whole point of all this is to reverse my diabetes, to lose weight, to heal myself. No sugar, no problems. Another question I get asked is how often I should eat and how much. Well, in the beginning, I started eating 3 meals a day and snacks. I did whatever it took to keep myself full, to not want to eat those carbs. I strongly suggest this in the beginning. I know everybody wants to lose weight quickly, but it's most important to get fat adapted. That's where the decreased hunger and the decreased appetite come from. I went from 3 meals and snacks to 3 meals to eventually 2 meals to then 1 meal a day. I did 1 meal a day for a handful of months, but I actually discovered I do better doing 2 meals a day. So currently I eat at about 10 o'clock in the morning and about 5 o'clock at night, and I don't eat any kind of snacks anymore either. As far as volume of food, as I already stated, it's important in the beginning just to eat whatever you need. Don't worry about how much it is. As your appetite decreases, you become fat adapted, you'll notice you just eat a little less and a little less and a little less, and your body knows what it's doing. We have hundreds of thousands of years of the human body not using a calculator or something on the internet to tell us how much we need to eat. It's really about figuring out your hunger cues. And the big change I found is hunger cues do not come from here. This is cravings. This is Amanda wants sugar from here. It is in the stomach. It is a sensation that it took me a very long time to learn because I had spent my entire childhood being told to eat everything on my plate, and I never really experienced true hunger. How much fat and protein should you be eating? I hate to tell you this, there is no straight answer, and if someone tells you this is it, they don't know. We are all different physically, we are all different how active we are, and our age and our gender, all of these have an impact on what we need. It is figuring it out and honing it in for yourself. I do 50-50 or 60-40, so 60% fat, 40% protein. I do not measure anything. I just eat slowly, and I eat until my stomach is no longer hungry. That is when I know to stop eating. Not when I'm full, not any of those signals I used to use. When I'm no longer feeling hunger in my stomach is when I stop eating. And the other metric I use is after I've eaten a meal, if I feel hungry quite quickly or lethargic afterwards, I just add a little bit more butter or some kind of fat to my next meal. It fluctuates day to day. Every once in a while, I'll eat one meal in a day just because I'm not feeling true hunger. A really big one is, don't you need fiber to go to the bathroom? No, you do not need fiber to go to the bathroom. Fiber is indigestible. That means your body cannot break it down. We are not a ruminating animal with 4 stomach chambers to be able to digest this. Literally, whatever you eat as far as fiber goes in your mouth and it comes out intact. It might be broken into smaller pieces, but your body cannot utilize it. The other reason you do not need fiber to go to the bathroom, our intestines are like a sock if you cut the toes off. They are circular. There is something called a peristaltic wave. It is the smooth muscle around our intestines that propagates the food forward in our intestines. It's how it gets from point A to point B. Not having fiber does not change that. There's nowhere for food to hide. I had someone tell me one time red meat stayed in your intestines for 5 years. That's not remotely true, because if it did, you would have a perforated intestines probably from the rot. Wouldn't be good. The body pushes it out. And you don't have to go to the bathroom as much. Why? Because the fiber isn't tying the nutrients up in the body, and your intestines are actually able to pull a majority of the nutrients from what you've eaten out. So you don't have to go very frequently. You're also not eating as much, I promise you. That's part of it. And the other thing is because you're able to pull the stuff out, you're not literally eating food and wasting it by, pooping it out. I crack myself up. And Scott. Next one would be the cost of carnivore. Carnivore is so much cheaper than the standard American diet. I cannot express to you how much money we save every single month. But it's like, oh, Amanda, meat's so expensive. Well, if you're buying prime rib and ribeyes every day, of course it's going to be expensive. It is giving up the snacks, all the extra condiments, all those fruits and vegetables that you're going to eat and then have to throw away in the trash because they've actually gone bad. Not doing any of that, well, think about how much money you would have saved that you can put towards meat. The second thing is you do not have to buy grass-fed. We can't afford grass-fed. Yes, would it probably be better? Yeah, but the 2% better it might be, I can't afford it, and that's the reality of it. The benefit I get from carnivore is exponential. I'm not going to stress about that 0.5% that I might be doing better by eating all organic things. And if you can afford it, that's wonderful. But the majority of us can't, and that's the reality of it. Go find meat on sale. Get a deep freezer if you can. One time Scott and I got some meat on sale at Costco, and we saved enough money on the sale that we actually could afford, if we needed to, have bought a deep freezer with all the savings we had. It is important that you be willing to put the footwork in. We buy meat on sale. Grocery store, sometimes Whole Foods actually has excellent sales. You just have to be willing to look. Check your local butcher. There are all sorts of places to find good quality meat on sale though. Something else to factor into this is Do you ever go get coffee? Do you ever stop at the convenience store for a candy bar or McDonald's or Wendy's or anywhere else? Because on carnivore, you don't have to. You don't experience those lows of, I think I'm going to pass out if I didn't eat. I did all the time. Being a type 2 diabetic, it was terrible. Like sometimes I legitimately thought I was going to pass out while I was walking somewhere. You don't experience that. If we're out somewhere and there isn't a good option for us, guess what? I just don't eat. I'm going to survive to the next meal, I promise you. What's the difference between carnivore, ketovore, and keto? Keto is having less than 20 net carbohydrates a day. People on keto, there's different varieties of doing it, but you still have fruits, you still have some starchy vegetables, you just aim for less than 20 a day. Ketovore is mainly focusing on meat with having some low carb vegetables a few times a week. Carnivore is eating meat, period. Now I do a modified version of carnivore because I don't do the vegetables, but what I do use is I use spices and dairy intermittently on my carnivore journey. You have to decide what is the right one for you. Some people do excellent on keto. I did not because I used all the keto foods. And ketovore, the whole point of me doing carnivore is to eliminate as much inflammation as possible, and vegetables have oxalates which cause inflammation. Last one, but very important. Can I do carnivore with no gallbladder? Yes, you absolutely can. You just have to come at it a little bit slower. That's it. The gallbladder is what stores the bile. It doesn't mean your body won't produce bile, which breaks down the fats we consume. In the beginning, you might experience more indigestion as you slightly increase your fat intake. If you're having the nausea and stuff, you need to back off just slightly and give your body a few weeks to adapt. It is very, very important. The other thing about not having a gallbladder is I can have a lower fat meal and then the next day have a high fat meal and my body's fine because it's stored the bile. Without having the gallbladder, you really want to get to a point where you're pretty consistent on the fat intake you eat because then your body knows how much to produce. There's other things people recommend like bile salts and things like that. Dr. Berry is a great resource for that, but you can absolutely do carnivore with no gallbladder. I appreciate all of you so much. If you guys have questions, throw them in the comments. I would love to continue to do these like FAQ videos because if you are thinking it, other people are too. Thanks again, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. I do a 50-50 to 50-60, so I can't do math. I do 50-60. That's 110%.
That just took me a little while to get. I'm like, what are you talking about?
All right, restart. Do you ever go to get